Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. We want to welcome everybody to our show tonight. We have a jam-packed show for you. We've got some very important information we need to give you tonight, and I hope you're here for us to give it to you. This is very important. 392 miles west. This is very important. We want to make sure we get you this information as soon as possible, literally as soon as possible. This is very important. Okay, I wouldn't just say that if it wasn't true. This is very important. Now, why am I being so strong about this? This involves Social Security. Those of you that are on Social Security, guess what? There are some problems. Last night, a federal court judge in Baltimore, Maryland, issued a warning, issued a restraining order, blocking Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency from having access to personally identifiable information on Americans stored by Social Security. Administration Judge Ellen Lipton Hollander. This is an administration judge. This is not a criminal judge. This is an administration judge. There's a difference. Okay? This administrative judge, Ellen Lipton Hollander, Miss Hollander, said anyone on Musk's team who already has any of the data must delete it. We've already recovered millions of dollars in Social Security funds because our Democrat Party had been paying people from 115 years old on up to 386 years old. And yet this judge says the Doge team must delete the information. The Doge team is essentially engaged in a fishing operation, she said, in search of fraud epidemic based on little more than suspicion. Really? Miss Hollander? Judge Hollander? You're full of crap. Elon Musk and the Doge team has already found millions of dollars in fraud. 115, 120-year-old people getting paid by Social Security that are dead, that don't even exist. It's a proven fact. But this administration law judge says that Doge must delete the information. Okay? This has launched a search for a proverbial needle in the haystack without any concrete knowledge that the needle is actually in the haystack. That's what she wrote. She says it has launched a search for a proverbial needle in the haystack without any concrete knowledge that the needle is actually in the haystack. I call BS. But this is not over. Doge first tried to gain access to the personal information a month ago in a standoff that resulted in the acting commissioner leaving her job after denying Musk's team. The acting commissioner was fired by President Trump. The new order in response to a lawsuit brought by unions. Again, who are unions controlled by? Democrats. This new order in response to a lawsuit brought by unions and federal retirees prevents the agency from letting Doge see the information. Unreal. Letting Doge see the information. I'm telling you this, guys, this is unreal. This should never have happened. Because the Democrats and their unions have stopped it. The new order, in response to a lawsuit brought by the unions and federal retirees, prevents the agency, Doge, from going in to see the information. We will work to comply with the new order, a Social Security spokesman emailed CNBC. Judge Hollander said the defense doesn't seem worried about the privacy of millions of Americans whose personal information was shared without their consent. Though ironically, the identity of these Doge affiliates has been concealed because the defendants are concerned that the disclosure of even their names would expose them to harassment and thus invade their privacy. That's exactly what would happen. We've already seen that. These Democrats have gone out to the street with signs just like you see here. They've gone out to the street. Those signs are pre-printed with money. Someone's money. The Democrats' money. The Democrats are organizing this. They don't want President Trump doing anything. They want everything to continue going as it has. The Democrat politicians want to destroy this country. They want to destroy this country. And at this rate, they're going to get that. I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'm hoping I'm very wrong. This is America's worst nightmare. This is one of America's worst nightmares, and it's ongoing. Let me let you be privy to a conversation from Steve Ram on YouTube. You can go over to YouTube and see this, okay? But I'm going to share a few moments with you right now, okay? Please stand by. You're going to want to see this. I guarantee you that you're going to want to see this. This is important. This is Steve Ram News here on YouTube. You can go over to his show after this to see the rest of the program. But this is important breaking information. Steve Ram I've vetted him over months and months and months that I've subscribed to his channel. What he's saying is the truth, the absolute gosh awful truth. Watch this.
Breaking news coming out in the last 24 hours as we are seeing headlines coming out like this. Trump administration threatens to stop Social Security if Doge can't have its personal data. You can see this coming out yesterday, March 20th, in the middle of the evening. And we're hearing that in the last 24 hours, this is spreading all over. Take a look. You can see 20 hours ago, Social Security says Doge ruling will force the agency to shut down. Acting head threatens to shut down Social Security after a court ruling. This coming out 1 hour ago. Trump administration threatens to shut down Social Security over Doge ruling. Trump administration threatens to stop Social Security if Doge can't have personal data. Judge blocks Doge from accessing millions of American Social Security. And we're hearing as a result, the Trump administration is saying that this might get shut down. Now, I'm going to get caught up onto the latest coming out on this from these articles so you can see it for yourself, know exactly what is going on, make sure that you get the latest data and information. And this is, as always, going to be cited, linked in the description below with a hyperlink. I'm going to put it on the screen, read right from it, show you the latest so you can see it for yourself, and rest assured that you are aware of exactly what is taking place as these headlines are coming out. So we're going to dive into this breaking news here and let you know exactly what's going on, and let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned that Social Security might be shutting down? As we had seen Doge come into Social Security, they said the biggest fraud that you've ever seen was about to be exposed, and we had heard warnings coming out from Martin O'Malley, former director of the Social Security, saying they're going to disrupt things, they're going to slow down payments, they're going to cause issues. Doge saying, no, we're going to clean things up, get rid of the fraud, and make it even more efficient and help out those on Social Security. Back and forth with these two opinions. Then we saw, I think it was in the past 48 hours, a judge come out and say, Doge, I am blocking you from having access to Social Security. This is against the law, and you need to delete all the data that you have. And now we're hearing, in about the last 20 hours to be exact, the announcement coming out that Social Security could get shut down if Doge does not have the ability to get in and take care of business. Let me know your thoughts. Are you concerned about Social Security getting shut down? Do you think this is going to happen? Or do you think that these are negotiating tactics by the Trump administration? If you're concerned, put a 1. If you think no, you don't realistically think Social Security will get shut down, put 2. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, but we're going to dive into these articles and get you caught up on everything so you know exactly what is taking place. Now, before we dive in, do me a quick favor. If you appreciate the updates, don't forget to hit the like button to stay up to date. It's totally free. Why not? Hit that subscribe button. I'll let you know whatever unfolds, regardless of if it's good news or not. I'll share it here on the channel so you know exactly what is taking place. Put it on the screen, read right from it, and have it hyperlinked in the description for you. And I'm seeing 1s and 2s coming in. Some people saying they're concerned about the future of Social Security here in the near coming weeks or days. Others saying not concerned about it. This could be a part of the art of the deal. Who knows? We will see. Now, in addition to that, also, if you have been following me here on the channel, you're also aware of the fact that there's major changes happening with Social Security. In fact, we're going to be covering for you 5 Social Security changes Trump has already made or are on the way that he is saying are going to be coming. And one of those, the big one, is taxation. Stopping double taxation. And in addition to that, I've been keeping you guys up to speed on this Doge stimulus check update. Creator clarifies Social Security is eligible, and this actually was announced in hit news headlines from the interview that I had, the exclusive with Mr. James Fishback, who is a part of Doge that proposed the Doge dividend refund checks. And just to clarify, for those of you on Social Security, you are eligible for the check. You don't have to work. Just to clarify, some people were confused. If you collect Social Security retirement or the Social Security benefits, you worked your entire life to get these benefits, he said you are first on the list. You do not have to work to get the benefit if you are on Social Security. Now, if you're not young enough to collect Social Security retirement, you need to work to be eligible to get it. But if you have Social Security, you're collecting it, you don't have to work, you get it. This was clarified on my podcast, and I've had so many DMs and questions about this, so I wanted to clarify for those of you that were wondering. Some people got the impression that they had to work and while they're collecting Social Security. Not the case. So just wanted to clarify that for those that were wondering. But like I said, hit the like button if you appreciate the clarifications, the updates.
This is the quickest way to pee out fat. Click.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there. You can go over to his channel after our program's over and check it out. Because Steve Ram is right on the money. Now, I want to clarify something. If I had let this podcast go on, it's about a 20-minute long podcast. If I'd let it go on, President Trump has clarified this. Okay? Social Security will not be shut down. President Trump has clarified it. It won't be shut down. The problem is the Democrats want to shut it down. The Democrat Party wants it shut down. Why? Because then they have control. They got this administrative law judge. She's not a real judge. She's an administrative law judge in Baltimore to halt it. This is another scare tactic by the Democrat Party. The judge that on Sunday issued an order for planes carrying bad guys, gangbangers from El Salvador and Venezuela, MS-13, Tren de Aragua gangs, people that killed and murdered people and raped people. And yet, a judge over in, I can't remember where it was, in Washington. A judge in Washington ordered Trump to halt those planes and return them to the United States. Those planes were already over international waters. President Trump did not recall the planes because the judge's order was null and void. The judge did not even have jurisdiction. The jurisdiction was in Texas. If a Texas judge had ordered those planes to return, it might have been a different story. But that did not happen. Those planes had taken off from Texas. The Washington judge had no jurisdiction. And that might be the case with this woman here. This was an administrative law judge. Does her teeth have any jurisdiction? I don't know. I don't know. But what has happened yesterday and today is by far the biggest and worst thing that could happen. Because the Democrats are now trying to stop President Trump another time. One more time. How many more times are the Democrat Party, the communists of this country, going to try to stop President Trump? How many more times are we going to allow this to happen? I hope this is the end of it. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. I'm not done. I'm not done. These things continue to happen. They're going to continue to happen. Now, I want to talk about an earthquake that happened, actually 2 earthquakes that happened earlier today. Okay, let's go over the USGS map here. Let me take down my smiling webcam face here and take down our banner, and let's go over to Alaska first. Okay, let's go over here to Alaska. Up here in Alaska, right here, this was a 6.3 earthquake. USGS downgraded to a 6.2. 6.0, 6.9 are considered to be very strong earthquakes. Very strong earthquakes. This was a 6.3. They downgraded to a 6.2. I've already gone through the data in the back seismologist study page. This was actually a 6.8 earthquake. This was a very strong 6.8 earthquake. They downgraded to 6.2. There was also one other strong earthquake today, over here just outside of Panama, just south of Panama here. I want to show you this. Just off the coast of Panama, 120 kilometers, about 80 miles south-southwest. They say it's south-southeast. There's no way. There's no way this was south-southeast. Look where it's at. Look where it's at. It's south-southwest of Barranca, Panama. If this had been southeast, it would have been over in Venezuela or Colombia. Okay? That would be southeast. If it would have been east, it could have been over in the Caribbean. But with south-southwest, so USGS has gotten its directions wrong again. I've continued to say that. The United States Geological Survey, the preeminent seismic agency, continues to get directions wrong all over the place. I pointed this out numerous times around this country and around the globe. USGS cannot tell the truth if their pants counted on it. This was another 6.2 earthquake. It was actually a 6.5 earthquake off the coast of Panama today. Now this is a very strong earthquake, as was the one over in Alaska, near Adak, Alaska. Okay? This earthquake was near Adak, Alaska in the Aleutian Island chain here. Okay? This was 17 kilometers deep. This earthquake in Panama was 10 kilometers deep. Both earthquakes were very shallow earthquakes, relatively shallow earthquakes. Okay? Now I've shown you that. I want to show you something else. Okay? In just a minute, let me take this map down, and I want to show you what other information I have for you. It's in regard to tsunamis. There was no tsunami in relationship to either of these earthquakes. I checked. Let me enlarge this so you can see it. Okay? Tsunami Information Statement Number 1. National Weather Service Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, Honolulu, Hawaii. No tsunami threat from a distant earthquake. This was the same statement issued for North America, Canada, and the United States. Okay? Audience, emergency managers, media, and the general public. Evaluation. An earthquake with a preliminary magnitude of 6.5 occurred south of Panama at 3:51 a.m. SST, Friday, March 21st, 2025. Based on all available data, there is no tsunami threat to American Samoa from this earthquake. And like I said, every other tsunami warning or tsunami advisory, there was never a tsunami warning. This was a tsunami advisory. There was no tsunami threat at all. Recommended actions, no action required. No action required. Okay? Neither earthquake created any kind of tsunami at all. Not at all. Okay? We had people that were hounding me, Ron, there's a tsunami. No, there's not. No, there's not. Let's go over to South America. Okay, right here. That was over just south of Panama. Over here in southern Peru. Madrigal, Peru. We have a 4.6 moderate earthquake here. 10 kilometers deep. South of there, this is northern Chile. This is a 4.8 earthquake. 4.8 earthquake, 101 kilometers deep. Let's go over here to the South Pacific. Between South America and Tonga, Samoa area, down here in the South Pacific, this is where all earthquakes originate. All earthquakes originate from this area, no matter where they are around the globe. Let's go over here to the South Pacific here. Over here in Niapu, Tonga. This is another 4.6 earthquake. This is 253 kilometers deep. This is a moderately deep earthquake, but we will not have any prolific nature of seismic energy coming from this earthquake. In other words, this earthquake will not propagate another larger shallower quake. That only happens when the earthquakes are very deep. This was moderately deep. South of there, this was a 4.7 south of Fiji Islands. This was a fairly deep earthquake, 540 kilometers deep. 540 kilometers deep, guys. This is a deep quake. As a result of this 4.7 quake, there will be a stronger quake and a shallower quake coming. Stronger, shallower quake coming. That stronger quake will probably be at least a 5.5 to a 5.6 earthquake. Now we have 6 earthquakes. 6 earthquakes are going to appear here sometime within the next 3 to 10 days. 3 to 10 days. Over the last 2 days, I've mentioned 5 earthquakes that were very strong. This is still fairly strong here. So now we have 6 5.0, actually 5.5 to 6.0 earthquakes that are going to hit in this region within the next 10 days. Okay, count on it. They're going to happen. Let's go over here to the west. Solomon Islands today, another large earthquake here. This is 62 kilometers south-southwest of Buala, Solomon Islands. Again, it's out in the ocean. Every one of these quakes are in the ocean except for, well, actually, the one over in the Aleutian Islands is also out in the ocean. Okay? The seismic energy was dispersed by the water, was absorbed by the water. No tsunami, no other effects on land masses, no islands or anything. Okay? Further to the west here. This is a 5.0 earthquake. USBS is downgraded to 4.9. Anytime you see a 0.9 anything, it's because the USBS downgraded it. This was at least a 5.0 earthquake. This is 87 kilometers deep near Panguna, Papua New Guinea. 92 kilometers south of Panguna, Papua New Guinea. Okay, let's continue out here to the west. Again, over here in Papua New Guinea here. Right here. Look where it's at. It's on the landmass. This is the moderate 4.7 earthquake here. This is 126 kilometers deep. 126 kilometers deep. Look where it's at. It's in the hilly region of Papua New Guinea. Okay? This did some damage. I'm guaranteeing you it did some damage over here. Why? Normally, moderate earthquakes do very little damage. But here in Papua New Guinea, people don't have much money. They cannot afford to build good houses. They don't have the earthquake standards that we do here in the West. And as a result, their cardboard shacks, their wooden shacks, sometimes even during a moderate earthquake, can be destroyed. Okay? I feel very sorry for these people in Papua New Guinea and Indonesia because they don't have the money that we do. And as a result, their earthquake standards have a lot to be what's the word I want to see? A lot to be desired. Look where this earthquake also occurred. Let me back this up. Look where this earthquake occurred. This is actually east of a volcano right here. Right there. Another volcano further to the south here. There are volcanoes all over this area. All over the region. Okay? So this was a moderate 4.7 earthquake here in Papua New Guinea. Let's back this out. Okay? Let's go further to the west over here. This is Papua New Guinea here. This was another large 5.0 earthquake here. Okay? Large earthquake. There are villages here. There are villages here throughout this region, on this island, that are being affected by this quake today. This was a large 5.0 earthquake. USBS downgraded to 4.9. Sad. Sad. We go over here. This is northern Indonesia, Tobelo, Indonesia here. This is a 4.7 earthquake, 108 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. These are not the only earthquakes in this region, guys. These are not the only earthquakes in this region. There are 19 earthquakes here in Indonesia alone. And USBS continues to not show them. Again, for those people who are brand new, this area here from Tonga over here to the east, all the way through Australia, all the way through Indonesia, and even up into Japan. The largest subduction zone in the world. There are 7 different tectonic plates here. 7 different tectonic plates, each plate subducting under the other. What does that mean? What does subduction mean? Let me bring up my webcam just a minute and I'll explain it. Subduction means one tectonic plate moving underneath another, just like this. Just like this. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens. We have solar flares out there coming from the sun. We've had numerous solar eruptions, sunspots erupting on the sun. Those solar eruptions send plasma energy out into space. When the plasma energy hits our planet, it heats up the magnetosphere. Heats up the magnetosphere, further reducing the effectiveness and protection that the magnetosphere gives the Earth. The plasma radiation comes through the magnetosphere, through our atmosphere also, down to the surface and below the surface, heating up the core of our planet. When that plasma radiation goes to the surface, it heats up the tectonic plates. It heats up the earthquake faults. What happens there? All that friction that holds those plates and also the faults in place is reduced to basically grease. All the biological material, all the rock and gravel and other things that are there holding the plates in place with friction is turned into grease. allowing the plates to more freely move under each other just like that. That's what's going on. This is what's going on. You need to know it, because this is affecting you as well, whether you know it or not. The plates are moving. They're going to continue to move. That's why we're seeing all these earthquakes literally all over the planet. And USGS does nothing. USGS does nothing to assuage the damage, because they don't want to be saddled with results. They don't want to take responsibility for anything. And that's the honest truth. Just like other parts of the government and these judges don't want to take responsibility for squat. They don't want to take responsibility for squat. Now yesterday we talked about this earthquake down here in the southeast Indian Ocean. This is on the Antarctic Ridge. Okay? This happened yesterday. Okay, 4.9, 5.0 earthquake here. We go north up here to the Carlsberg Ridge here in the mid-Indian Ocean. This earthquake also happened yesterday. We go up here to the north here in Mongolia. This is a 5.1 earthquake here. Happened earlier today. 5.1 earthquake here. It's also 10 kilometers deep. We don't get much information about Mongolia earthquakes because they hide it. This is in Afghanistan. All the time. Literally all the time. USGS is not even showing all these earthquakes down here in Indonesia. But I'm going to zoom in here for practical purposes to show you what's going on. Yes, we have earthquakes here. Seismic energy moving along the craton edge of these plates. Just like you're seeing here, this is a plate, the edge of the plate here, the earthquake fault. Seismic energy moves along these earthquake faults. In this case, it's going up here into Myanmar, going up into India. Then you see the edge of the plate here in the Himalaya Mountains, between India, Nepal, and China. The seismic energy moves through the Himalaya Mountains out here to the west. It goes out here. We get earthquakes out here in Afghanistan, Tajikistan, and Kazakhstan. This is a 4.2 here in Afghanistan today. Also, this is 92 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow earthquake. We go over here to Iran. Notice where the seismic energy has to travel. Again, south here. South here through the mountainous regions west of India. Over here through the southern part of Iran and Iraq. Going up here. Look where the earthquake is. Right here. Right next to the earthquake fault. This is the 4.8 here in Iran. Kurdistan, Iran. 4.8, the seismic energy left over here in Afghanistan and had traveled through from Papua New Guinea all the way over here. That's how this energy got here. Also, there's another way. You see this earthquake here in Afghanistan? It follows this other ridge here over towards the Caspian Sea here. Follows this other ridge of mountains over here to the Caspian Sea. This is also an earthquake fault. Yes, we get earthquakes over here near the Caspian Sea all the time. Seismic energy comes over here. Okay, it comes over here to Turkey and Syria border region. You can see the earthquake faults here. This earthquake fault that goes south is called the Anatolian Fault. 2 years ago, February 3rd, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake hit here. They're not showing any earthquakes here. Why not? There are plenty of earthquakes here. Aftershocks of that 10.0 earthquake that hit here 2 years ago that killed over 5,000 people and injured over 5,000 more in this area. It also created a 12-mile long fissure. A 12-mile long fissure in the earth that was as deep as an 8-story building. As deep as an 8-story building. That's a pretty powerful earthquake. That's what we're going to see when Cascadia goes in the Pacific Northwest. Probably within the next 5 years. Okay? Now, as we see that energy come out of Turkey-Syria border region, it goes south. It continues to go south and travels south of Cyprus here. Goes out here in the Mediterranean Ocean. It goes out here into the Aegean Sea as well. Guess what we have here? This is the tectonic plate, guys. This is a tectonic plate. But more than that, every time we have subduction here, every time we have subduction, we also are subject to volcanic action. This is near Amorgos Island over here in the Aegean Sea here. These are the Dokanese Islands here. We have volcanoes here. This is just southeast. They say it's southwest of Amorgos. It's not. It's southeast of Amorgos. Down here, we have Santorini. Yes, we continue to see earthquakes here, but USGS is not showing them. Why not? Because they don't think they have to. This earthquake here is a 4.3 earthquake, and we need to talk about it. Because this is a volcanic earthquake. Magma down beneath the surface is pushing its way through bedrock. Pushing its way through bedrock, trying to find a weak spot. Until it finds a weak spot, and then it comes up through the ground. And it erupts. That's what's going to happen here. That's what's going to happen here. Unless, all of a sudden, the magma stops. But it's not likely to stop. Because we continue to have earthquakes here. If the magma is going to stop flowing, then the earthquakes would slow down and possibly even stop. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. We're still seeing earthquakes over here in the Aegean Sea and the Dokanese Islands. Here in Greece, we're still seeing earthquakes here. There are 18 earthquakes here in Greece. More earthquakes over here in southern Italy here, in Sicily. Mount Etna to the north of the toe of Italy is still erupting. We come over here, still southwestern Italy here. What do we have here? We have more earthquakes here as well, and USGS is not showing them. Why are we having earthquakes here? Another volcano. Magma coming here, shaking this area. And yes, there will be a volcanic eruption at some point. At some point there will be a volcanic eruption unless the magma stops. The magma stops. It's been a lot of years since this volcano erupted. Again, the magma is pushing its way through bedrock, fracturing the rock in its movement. That's what's causing Earth movement. The magma forcing its way through the bedrock towards the volcano. Okay? That's what's happening. The bedrock is rocking and rolling, being fractured by the magma. Okay? Further to the north here in Italy, we have more earthquakes here. But again, USGS is not showing them. 20 plus earthquakes here. More earthquakes over here in northwestern Italy. Of course, they're not showing them. Over here in the Alps Mountains, between Italy, Switzerland, Austria, and Germany, and France. Not showing any of these earthquakes here. Most of these earthquakes are all tremors, except for I believe one is a 2.1 minor earthquake. Tremors here in the Alps Mountains. Okay? Not showing any earthquakes in France or Spain here. None. Why not? Why not? Because the USGS is too darn... I'm going to stop. As you already know, I have no respect for the USBS. They don't put up anything because they don't want to take responsibility. And that's lying by omission. If you omit something, if you omit the truth or omit information, you are lying to the public. You're lying to your friends, your family, your children, whoever. If you're omitting data, you're lying. If I had done that when I was a federal police officer, they would have thrown me in jail and thrown the book at me. I can't lie on a document ever. I cannot do it. Over here on the east coast of the United States here, this is Gladstone, New Jersey again. This is an aftershock. This is an aftershock of an earthquake that hit here about a year ago. A 5.0 earthquake hit here a year ago, and they downgraded it to 4.5. They downgraded it to 4.5. It was a large 5.0. This is another aftershock here. Yes, we don't see aftershocks very frequently, but the aftershocks are still hitting here. This is a 1.8 tremor here in New Jersey. Another aftershock of that 5.0 earthquake a year ago. And they continue happening. We had a good-sized earthquake today over here in the central part of the U.S. Right here. Elder, Kansas. Elder, E-L-D-E-R, Kansas. A 2.7 minor earthquake here. Further south, you see other earthquakes here in Oklahoma. These are all fracking earthquakes, oil and gas fracking earthquakes. Fact. Fact. You see earthquakes here in Southern California. Those are going to continue to happen. Promise you, they're going to continue to happen. This earthquake off of Baja California, 2.4. We have a new earthquake here that you see in red. I just turned it blue. This is a 2.0 in the Anza-Bregos Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County. A 2.0 earthquake here. Okay? They're not showing us all the earthquakes in Southern California at all. In Southern California, in the Imperial Valley of Southern California east of San Diego County. In the Imperial County, there's close to 500 earthquakes right there. But you'll never see that happen. USBS will never own up to it. But I've shown you seismograms even this week to prove that fact out. There's probably 400 earthquakes in Los Angeles. They're not showing that either. They're only showing 302 earthquakes worldwide. There's probably close to 1,500 earthquakes worldwide. They're not showing them. They're not. Going up here to Northern California, just off the coast of Northern California here. This is a 2.1 minor earthquake in the Southern Cascadia region. The Southern Cascadia region. This earthquake is a 2.1 earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. That same fault that runs all the way through California, down through California, into northern Mexico, down over off the coast of southern Mexico as well. Unreal. Further out here to the west, this is the Gorda Escarpment. This is a 2.7 earthquake here. The Southern Cascadia region. The Southern Cascadia region. We've had another earthquake up here in Washington State. Right here. This is a 2.2 earthquake, and this is outside of Amanda Park, Washington. Amanda Park, Washington. Okay? Further out here to the east here, guys, guess what? This is a 1.8 tremor here in Woodinville, Washington. Woodinville, Washington. W-O-O-D-I-N-V-I-L-L-A, Washington. Puget Sound. Look where this earthquake is. Right near the Puget Sound. Again, this whole region here is the Cascadia region. The Cascadia region. Go back up here to Adak, Alaska, where we have this 6.0 earthquake here. Unreal. That energy is traveling up here to Alaska, to mainland Alaska. out here in the southern part of the southern peninsula of Alaska. This is a 4.1 earthquake out here. This is southwest of False Pass, Alaska. USGS has this as east of False Pass, Alaska. Again, they can't get their direction straight. One more earthquake over here at Kamchatka Peninsula, and I'm going to go over into northern Alaska here. This is a 4.6 just off the coast of Kamchatka Peninsula. Again, this earthquake here, the seismic energy here released, is going to travel through the Aleutian Island fault zone, just like we have this earthquake here today in the Aleutian Islands. 6.0 earthquake. 6.5 is going to travel up here into Alaska. If it doesn't travel into Alaska itself, it'll get stuck here in the Gulf of Alaska here. There's a lot of energy here, guys. There's a lot of stuck energy here, and it's going to pop. It's going to pop. I fully expect another 7.0 earthquake to hit Anchorage, Alaska very soon. Very soon. Up here in northern Alaska, this is near Katavik, Alaska. Katavik, Alaska, just south of the North Sea up here, where we have the oil and gas pumping stations up here on the north shore of Alaska. This is south there, Katavik, Alaska. This is 1/8 of a mile deep. 1/8 of a mile deep. This is a 3.2 small earthquake. This is in the upper crust of the earth here in Alaska. A small 3.2 earthquake here. I'm still waiting for another 5.0 earthquake here. Back in 2019, July of 2019, July 2nd, 2019, we had a 5.0 earthquake here. Guess what? 2 days later, 2 days later, 2 days later, right here, guys, Ridgecrest, California, had a 7.1 earthquake. Right there. Right there. And now scientists are saying that it probably was an 8.0. 2 days after the Katavik quake, the 8.0 hit here in Ridgecrest, California. Unreal. Unreal. I want to talk about preparedness. I want to talk about preparedness tonight. I'm hoping you're ready. I'm hoping you're ready. We've talked about earthquakes all over the globe. We talked about the 2 biggest earthquakes of the day. And they may continue. We may see larger earthquakes become of that. That still remains to be seen. One more thing I need to talk, well, no, that's it. Let's talk about preparedness. I'm going to play a short clip from Bill Engvall. Bill Engvall is a stand-up comedian that most of us know and love. At least I do. This man is a real gem. He's very much a real gem. Let's hear him talk about preparedness here.
I relieve my stress by buying stuff. I go to Cabela's or Bass Pro Shops, yeah. Here's the problem. I'm an impulse buyer. I'll like, ooh, look, I bought a deer feeder. Then I think, oh man, I gotta get it home. And that drives my wife crazy, because she's very much a list shopper. Like, she hates it when I get on airplanes, because the airlines now have this magazine called Sky Mall Magazine. Oh, that is my crack.
Okay? He's an impulse buyer. But you heard him talking about Bass Pro Shop and others places. Guess what? When I go to Bass Pro Shop, when I go to REI, or other adventure, outdoor adventure, or other places like that, guess what? I usually come out for some preparedness item. With some preparedness item. Let's talk about preparedness tonight. I'm going to talk about go bags. first aid kits. I'm going to talk about go bags and first aid kits here. Be advised, I'm serious. I'm very serious about this. We need to be prepared. We need to be prepared. Preparedness is going to get us everywhere. Preparedness is going to get us everywhere. This is a medical bag, a first aid kit. These are some of the things that you need to have with your first aid kits. I have a blood pressure cuff that you see here in the lower right-hand side of this photograph. I have a stethoscope you also see here. The stethoscope is hanging on the wall behind me because I frequently check my blood pressure and my pulse with that same stethoscope and a blood pressure cuff. I'm constantly aware of my blood pressure and my pulse. Always. You see some medical scissors here. I have medical scissors in our first aid kit here. I have medical scissors in my first aid kit. We have bandages of all kinds, as you see here. We have alcohol wipes here. All kinds of things that you think you might need in your first aid kit. Up here in the top right, it's a brown wrapper here. What's that? It's a brown elastic bandage. After you put gauze or any other kind of bandage over a wound and you want to keep it held together, you wrap it with the elastic bandage. It holds everything together very well. You see white medical tape. You need to have some white medical tape. All kinds of other stuff you want to put in your first aid kit. This is just one of the first aid kits. This first aid kit would cost you between $40 and $45. This first aid kit might cost between $40 and $45. We're not done. Because guess what? I've got another one to show you here. Right here. This is a belt clip first aid kit. Notice a belt can just fit right through here. Right through here on the back. I have this on my belt. Right here I have a carabiner where I can hang other things that I might need. I can put this on my belt and carry it around with me all day long if I want to. It has two pockets here. It has two zipper pockets here. We can put all kinds of things in. On the front of it here, it has a place for a cell phone right here. Has a place for a cell phone. We flip the cover down and we snap it back into place just like that. Okay? It also has a place right here for a pen. Right there for a pen. So you can carry a pen around with you as well. Right here, right in this pocket right here. Right here. You can put a small flashlight there. I have several small flashlights here with me. This might do for a belt first aid kit. You can carry all kinds of things in this pouch. This pouch cost me $7. It might cost me $8 now. But I'm telling you, one of these pouches are great. And this particular company that I took this picture of sold out of them. They will be back. They will be back. Right here. This is another bag that I have. It's called a shoulder bag. This is part of my bug out kit. This is my bug out bag. I can carry the bag on my chest here, or I can carry it on my back. It's full of all kinds of go bag things. For example, one meal. One meal. I have some snacks in there. I've got a small first aid kit in there. I've got walking shoes or hiking shoes that I can carry with me. I've also got a rain slicker. A rain slicker. So I can go out hiking if my car breaks down or we have an earthquake or whatever and I can't drive my car any further than I can leave my car, grab my go bag, and I can take off and get home. That's what it's for for emergencies. If you work in an office, you can put this in your car. You can take it in your office with you in case something happens while you're working. Before you leave, you grab your go bag, take it with you back to your car. And you can either leave it in the trunk of your car or take it back in your house. I also have two bottles of water in that go bag as well. I also have a crossword puzzle book. Okay, I have a crossword puzzle book in case I get stranded somewhere where I can keep occupied with that. I have pens and paper. There's all kinds of things you can put in this go bag. I guarantee you it's a great thing to have. I spent $12 on this particular shoulder bag. It's awesome. It's awesome. Let me show you another one here. Right here. This can be another go bag, a small backpack. A small backpack. It has all kinds of pockets in it. 2 inside pockets and 2 outside pockets. All kinds of things you can hang here. It has little belt loops you can hang things with. Okay? It offers space for essential survival gear. Food, water, clothing, and materials. Consider food, water, clothing, and materials, and even a pair of hiking shoes. Doesn't take up that much space. You can also put a rain slicker in here or a poncho and be gone. A little bit of food and stuff and you can be gone and survive. Survive very freely. Something else you might want to consider is this, a fanny pack. A lot of people put their emergency first aid stuff in these fanny packs. I've done that before. I have a roll of elastic tape. I have some gauze. I have a pair of scissors in there. I've got a small knife. What else? I have some white tape in there. Those kinds of things can easily fit in this fanny pack in an emergency. Think about that. You may need it. Another kind of first aid kit is this. You can buy these at Walmart. Walmart first aid kits does not have a lot of stuff in them, but it has a container to add stuff to it, to add materials to it. This particular case has a 137-piece first aid kit in it. Okay, it measures about 18 to 20 inches wide, about 10 inches tall, and it can house all kinds of preparedness first aid equipment in it. A lot of information here, isn't it? It's great. It's great. We're going to need that, guys. I guarantee you we're going to need it. Whether it's a fanny pack or a backpack, okay, you're going to need it. An emergency preparedness kit is absolutely essential, okay? Carol and I have several totes, some large totes, about 3 foot long, about 22 inches deep, and about 2 feet wide. Very good, rugged plastic totes. Emergency preparedness kit. Okay? Brofist N said all packs have 72-hour kits. Okay? They can be used for 72-hour kits. Carol and I both have 72-hour kits right next to our front door. When I first started this program some 6 years ago, I had a program I devoted, a 1 hour plus program I devoted to 72-hour kit. I showed everyone what I had in my 72-hour kit. 3 days worth of food. I had pots and pans also. Aluminum pots and pans that I fit into a small tote, a small cloth tote inside that 72-hour kit. 3 days worth of food. I had a change of clothes, socks. I had a small pair of shoes in there as well. Hiking shoes. I had an axe or a hatchet in there. I had one of those tools that you use to shut off gas mains in there as well. At the top of it, I also had a poncho there and a rain slicker. Why? Because one thing has another. You might only need a rain slicker. You might not need a poncho, but you might need a rain slicker. I have a yellow hard hat that says emergency management on the front of it. All that stuff, and also 2 pair of leather gloves in the top of that backpack. On the outside of it, in several pockets, in the bottom pocket I have a first aid kit, in the front pocket of the 72-hour kit. I have a wilderness survival book, a small book, in the top pocket of that 72-hour kit. I'm a certified wilderness survivor expert. Been there, done that. I've taught it. Tonight I want to talk about what goes into your survival food and 72-hour kits. That's what we're going to focus on tonight. I want to talk to you about the ultimate preparedness checklist. The ultimate preparedness checklist, guys. Why preparedness? Why do you think we talk about preparedness? Richard Smith says, how about a NUG? For those of you who don't know what a NUG is, spell it backwards. Spell it backwards and you'll know what a NUG is. Okay? We're talking about preparedness in case something happens. We might not be able to survive anything any other way. It's called the end of the world. Helping us prepare for a possible survival of the fittest. Because it's going to happen. I guarantee you it's going to happen. I've been through a lot during my lifetime. My parents, when I was a teenager, and even before that growing up, they always were canning fruits and vegetables and other kinds of food. And we used it. And then, if we used it, we also replaced what we used. Back when I was an older teenager going in my 20s, my parents asked me and my wife and other people, other members of our family, to help them put on preparedness dinners for their church, which we did. Yes, we talked about canning. We talked about using food in your house. Food in your house that you did not have to go to the store to provide food for your family. How about that? Having food in your house so you don't have to go to the store to provide food for your family. Things that you have in your house. That's important, isn't it? It absolutely is. You need to be ready for anything that happens, guys. I guarantee you, you need to be ready for whatever happens. Because it's a matter of time. And then things will go south. Things will go south. They always do. They always happen that way. Just a second, I lost my Microsoft Word here. I'm trying to recover it. Okay, it's going to be another minute here. Okay, it looks like I'm going to have to go back to it and get it. That's all right. We can do that. But I've been there, done that. When I was a police officer, as I've told you before in various programs, I was asked to go places and do things that were going to be preparing me to go places and being away from home during emergencies. And I did it. I did it out of love for everybody. For everybody. And I do it again. I'd do it again in a heartbeat because I care. Today, we're talking about preparedness. Preparedness. There's a reason. There's a reason. We are going to be put in situations where we're going to need the information, need the items we have. And if you don't have them, guess what? We're going to be in trouble, aren't we? Yes, we will. Now, the list that I'm going to give you tonight, it extends beyond the basic survival trio of water, food, and weapons. It extends beyond the basic survival trio of water, food, and weapons. It's a given that we need to stock up on water and food and a way to defend ourselves with what we have. Because we don't want anybody to steal it. In our frame of mind with the public, they're stupid out there protesting and stealing all over the place. And President Trump trying to rid our country and rid our countries, rid the rest of the western part of the world. These gang members, these people that will steal, these people that will kill and rape anyone, trying to send them back to where they belong, where they came from. But we still have people out there that are harassing us, making things miserable for all of us. That's why we're talking about what we are tonight. But we're going to talk about more than just water, food, and a way to defend ourselves. We need to protect what we have, including providing a fortress for ourselves. If we have this shelter in place, we can do that. Making our home a castle, an impenetrable castle. Okay? But what things are you going to need in a survival situation? For those of you who are new to emergency preparedness, you probably feel pretty intimidated by what we've already talked about. You feel pretty intimidated sometimes just how much information you might need to learn just to be able to have a clue, just to be able to survive. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to try to make it easy for you. It's not really that hard. I promise you it's not that hard at all. From food storage to fire starting, finding your way around your neck of the woods, to lethal force, the sheer breadth and depth of the preparedness subject that we're going to talk about may sound and seem bewildering, literally. Especially if you aren't coming from a lifetime that I have. A lifetime that some of us have taught to us the hard way, through the skill of hard knocks. And the knowledge that some of us have had to gain, and now we have. I'm going to share it with you. Now, we don't want you to feel overwhelmed and give up on the prospect of taking responsibility for all facets of your own life and your survival. Not long ago, it wasn't called preparedness. Not long ago, it wasn't called preparedness. It was called life. Then we called it preparedness. Life like your great-grandfather and great-grandmother used to live. But to help you get a jump start of focusing your efforts and your energies, we put together a preparedness checklist of the most basic essential items for beginners. This list contains the most used and important basic survival items that you should have no matter where you live or what kind of disaster that you might be facing down. Now, before I go on, you might notice in our top of our program description, and also with the scroll that's going across the bottom of your screen, we changed our address yesterday. We changed our address yesterday. Our Gmail remained the same. rltnspd email or rltnspdema at gmail.com. rltnspdema at gmail.com. That remains the same. Our new address is 504 Bethel Road, Bethel Road, Box 401. Morganton, North Carolina stays the same. Zip code here, again, is 28655. So you can still send cards, you can still send letters, you can send donations to us through the mail. Happens all the time. All the time. Also, in the top of our program description, below our email address, we have PayPal locations, 2 of them. We also have a Venmo location, so you can help support our program there. We have members of our program here, our family, that send us donations through the Super Chat. But be advised, YouTube takes upwards of 50 to 60% of everything you give me in Super Chats. Yes, I do appreciate what we get, but I'm just warning you what happens with YouTube. If you want to really send us donations, you can do that through PayPal or even through the post office. Okay? You can stick your donations in a letter, wrap the letter around your donation, or in a card, put that donation inside of a card and mail it to us. We'd appreciate that very much. If you have questions or even ideas that you want us to discuss, send to our email address, rltnspdema at gmail.com. We greatly appreciate that. If you want to become a member of our program, at the very top of our program description, just below this program today, you'll see a link to join our program as a member of our program here on YouTube. We greatly appreciate that. And I thank you very much. Let's get back to preparedness. I don't want anybody to fear. I do not want anyone to fear. There is no need to fear. No matter what kind of disaster or situation that we are facing, we don't need to fear. But I need to explain something. Everyone starts somewhere. Everyone, including me, starts somewhere. Yes, I have a lot of experience. That's why I have this program here. But we are emergency management associates. Quite a few of us, including our mods, have a lot of experience. Demon Catman, Rebecca the Explorer, Don Patoka, what's his name? My buddy Alan, who's here sometimes here. He was here yesterday. A lot of us have a lot of experience. That's why we want to show this information to you, to make sure you have it. Because we are here for you. We are here for you. Every step of the way, we're here to help you. Things I'm going to talk about tonight, quick reminders of things you need to have. We're going to talk about shelter, water. We're going to talk about food and cooking. We're going to talk about light. At night, you're going to need light. In dark areas, you're going to need light. We're going to talk about clothing. We're going to talk about communications. We're going to talk about tools. We're going to talk about knives and weapons. We're going to talk medical as well. I've already shown you several bug-out bags, several different types of bug-out bags. These are important to have. Even a backpack for more than a bug-out bag, a 72-hour kit. Okay? Now I'm going to go over non-items on the checklist. The contents of this list are by design very basic. As I said before, no matter where you live or what threat you might have to face, the following things will be very useful, even mandatory. But everything we talk about here is important. Everything we talk about here is important. I'm just saying that. I don't want anybody to fear. I don't want anybody to think you can't do it. You can. Everything we talk about here cannot cover every contingency or even every nuance that might reflect each person's unique situation, where they live or where they're at. Depending on you and your specifics, some things and even recommendations may be different. Someone living in an arid desert, for instance, would probably place even greater importance on water supplies and water filtration than usual. Also keep in mind, one of the most basic person's preparedness items, starting now, nothing lasts forever. Nothing lasts forever. Even sitting on the shelf in your cool home, your cool, dry home, nothing lasts forever. That's why I ask everybody, when you have food in your home, put the oldest dates of food in the front part of the shelf. When you buy additional product, put that product in back of the first. That way you always have good food to eat. Whether you're in an emergency situation or an everyday situation, you have good food to eat. Right now, Carol and I have probably 6 months or longer in food here. 6 months worth of food, maybe longer. That's just in consumable food that we bought and have on our shelves. Okay? But things wore out. Things wore out or rot away. We need to be very careful and keep a good tool on hand in our minds on what we're doing. Keep an eye on everything that we're doing. You might even want to put those items, even in your food supply, on a list. That way, if you use something, you buy something to replace it. That's called rotation. If you use something, buy something to replace it the next time you go to the store. Okay? It's not going to cost much. It's not going to cost anything but the replacement cost of the food that you've already eaten. And don't buy things you're not going to eat. Do not buy food that you're not going to eat. That's stupid. Because in an emergency or a survival situation, you're not going to want to eat it. Only buy that food that you're going to eat. Okay? No matter the consumable. No matter the consumable and how well you preserve it, it will eventually go bad or spoil on you. No matter the consumable, no matter what it is, there is a chance it could go bad or spoil on you. I'm just putting that up front. Okay? Rotate your stock. Rotate your stock. Use up the items in your daily use before they go bad. Use a first in, first out approach. Rotation. Before replenishing what you have. That will prevent your money going the furthest. You're not wasting any money, you're wasting any additional time. Always replace what you have. If you don't have that much money to go out and buy food, buy one additional item every time you go to the store. You can spend 50 cents, you can spend $1 on one additional item. That's not going to make you go broke. That's not going to make you go broke, and it's not going to waste time. It's going to make sure you have things on your shelf you can eat during a given emergency. And you may have to make that last a while. You may have to eat smaller portions of food. That way, the food you have may last for a lot longer. You may have to do that, but at least you'll have something to eat. Okay? For example, consumable things like medicine. If you have some medicine stashed for disaster readiness, and then it expires or loses its effectiveness over time in 6 months, you want to pull that stale bottle of meds out and use them around your home. Tylenol, Advil, whatever it is. Use it and replace that which is in your emergency stash. Next time you go to a store, you would purchase that replacement bottle and add that to your survival stash of food. Easy. And with that, let's go on to the packing list. Shelter. Let's talk about shelter. Picoy says that she has invested 25-year dehydrated foods in Mylar bags and totes from an excellent patriotic company. Carol and I have done the same. You can do that. We have dehydrated special food in addition to what we have on the shelves. Let's talk about shelter. Shelter is probably the most important survival consideration right after oxygen. You have to breathe. Everybody has to breathe. But if you're out in an area where you're going to be exposed to the elements, you might die. You might die of solar sun exposure. You might die because of inclement weather. Cold or hot can kill you. It can kill you in hours if you are exposed in bad weather. You need to think about it. You need to very much think about where you're at and what you're going to do. The best thing you can do for yourself is to make sure that you have essential shelter gear and supplies on hand, even if you plan on writing out your emergency situation. Sheltering in place, and even better, water filters in case the water becomes contaminated. Make sure you have backup water. Carol and I have 6 months worth of supply of water for cooking and for letting our dogs have water. We have gallon jugs of water that are fresh, purified water, just for the dogs. We don't use tap water in our home. We use tap water to wash our hands and wash the dishes and our bodies, and that's it. We have bottled water here in the house. We have separate bottled water for Carol and I to drink. But we have gallon jugs put away just for our dogs and for us to cook with. 6 months worth of water for them and 6 months worth of water for Carol and I. And we drink about 4 bottles a day on average. Okay? You need that. Also, let's talk about power outages. During Hurricane Helene last September, we lost our power for 2 days. Now, one of our buddies here on YouTube that talks about earthquakes, his name's Brian. Most of you know who I'm talking about. He put out a video on YouTube. I very much appreciate that. Brian talked about power outages today. Power outages can do damage. Power outages can do damage and set you back. You need to think about power and loss of power. Carol and I lost power for 2 days and we came through just fine. Yeah, for the first few hours we thought, oh, it's going to come back on, and it didn't. We were without power for 2 days. Think about shutting off your power for an entire weekend. Think about shutting your power off for an entire weekend. What are you going to do? You can go to the power box in your home. It might be on the outside. It might be hidden in a closet. It could be hidden in the garage. Shut off the main breaker. Turn off your power and see how well you survive for at least 2 days. Carol and I did that, except it was shut off by a hurricane. And we came through it just fine. Carol likes to play games on her phone. She and I kept having to recharge our phone with batteries we have here in the house. Batteries we have here in the house. Not normal batteries though. Not normal batteries. This device right here. This device right here can help you charge 2 phones for up to 3 times. This device right here can recharge your batteries, your phone batteries, up to 3 times. Notice the solar panel here. This can be put on a shelf, or not a shelf, but put on a windowsill, and it can keep the battery charged. Exposure to the sun can keep this battery charged. If you're outside, it has a hook on the back of it right here. Hook this onto your backpack. Hook this onto your backpack and let the sun recharge your backup battery here. That way you're at least going to have your device handy when you need it. Now the power is going to go down. The cell towers may also disappear. You may not have cell service at all. We could not communicate with the outside world. On the second day, we drove around Morganton here where we live. We finally found a cell tower where we could make calls. We made calls back to Utah, to where we had family. And our family members, our children, could call other family members that we couldn't get hold of to let them know that we were okay. We survived the hurricane. We did very well. We had no power. How did we cook? We used our outdoor grill. We're not supposed to grill. We're not supposed to grill at all. But we didn't have fire. We used that grill with pots and pans and heated up our food. That's how we got through that. You can do that. Now, if it was cold, that was in September. I don't think the weather got any cooler than like 60 degrees at night. We got through it. We got through it just fine. If I had to go into our computer, like I have here with you, if I had to get into my computer, we have a solar battery here that was recharged by a solar panel that's sitting in my office window. That recharged the solar battery. I was able to operate my computer for up to 3 hours at a time because of that solar panel. You have to plan for these things, guys. You have to plan for these things. That solar battery did not cost me that much money. You can find those deals. You can find these deals all over the internet. Okay? You can do that. You can do that. My buddy Don Patogas here in the chat. Welcome, Don. Appreciate you. Don is one of my mods here. Here in the chat it says texting uses less power at a tower. Texting on your phone uses less power at a tower than talking. If a tower goes down, you'll probably be able to text for a lot longer. At least send out messages to those people that we know. Carol and I also did that. We text message people. Okay? If there's an emergency like that again, make sure that you stay off your phones. Do not use your phones except for text messaging. Let the voice bandwidth that the cell towers have. Let our law enforcement and our fire department have those cell towers for them so they can communicate. Please do that. Please do it. Let our first responders have those cell towers. Okay? Getting back to sheltering in place. You're going to want essential shelter gear and your supplies on hand if you plan on riding out the emergency situation. Sheltering in place even better. Even better. Make sure you have water filters in place just in case you have to drink the water. You'll be able to have life straws like we do. But we have backup water in place. We have solar power here that we use. Okay? If the power goes down, make sure you shut off your power to your walls. Do not let the power come on, because if there is a power spike, it could damage your electronic equipment. And you don't want that to happen. If you're like me, I have spent plenty of money over the years for my electronic equipment. My radio gear, my computers. I don't want them snuffed out by a power surge. Make sure you have power surge protectors on all your equipment. But we unplugged everything, so when the power did come on, that nothing would harm our electronics. Okay? More survivable microclimate inside your home is invaluable. You need to have a microclimate survival in your home. Okay? Microclimate. I learned about microclimate when we lived in San Diego. Different areas of San Diego had different climates. The further you got east, you had a desert type climate, maybe a mountain climate, where it got cold at night. Out in the desert in San Diego, it remained hot during the day and cooler at night. Once you got close to the coast, you got more variable temperatures. When you got close to the coast, you also have dew in the morning. You always have that water next to the ocean. So you're going to have dew in the morning. Always. Different microclimates. You can have the same thing happen in your area where you live. But you want a survivable microclimate in your home. This is going to become invaluable. Air purifiers in your home as well. Carol and I have air purifiers in every room of our house. We also have a good tent, several good tents. Yes, if we had to survive inside or outside our home, we have tents. Now, you might want to use your tent sparingly during the most part of your life. However, you might want to experiment with living in a tent at least overnight. Getting your children, your grandchildren, and even your pets acclimated to spending the time in the tent. Your pets and kids might get scared spending time in the tent alone. Don't make them. Stay inside the tent with your pets. They might get a little bit upset, but stay with them. Love them. Show them caring and love, and you'll have the greatest pets in the world. Make sure they have their blankies. Make sure they have their beds. Make sure they have their toys. Just like normal children, your pets get mad at you if you don't keep them occupied. You can get a good tent and keep your family inside your tent. Move your furniture to the walls and put up your tent in your home, in your living room, wherever. Get used to spending time in a tent as a possible secondary shelter. Heavy-duty tarp. Carol and I have many heavy-duty tarps in our survival gear. A heavy-duty tarp can help make a tent. You can put up paracord or rope between two trees and hang a tarp over it. You have a tent, don't you? You can use another tarp as a ground cloth to keep you dry. When you put up a tent, you can dig a small ditch around the outside of your tent. That way, when water comes off your tent, it flows into that ditch, keeping the water off of you and your tent, away from you. Otherwise, you might get wet. Okay? Use the ground cloth, or use a tarp as a tent and also as a ground cloth, keep you dry. You might also put another tarp over the front entrance of your tent. That way you can stay dry while putting on your shoes at night or in the morning. Okay? Think about that. You can also use that as a wind and sunshade, and so much more. Think about that. A poncho or rain slicker, like we spoke about earlier. Getting wet means you're going to lose heat of your body. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get cold. Then you're going to be miserable. And people die very quickly when they're cold. Getting wet when it's cold outside is often a death sentence. Stay dry with a waterproof outer layer. Emergency blankets. Remember those crinkly foil blankets? They're called space blankets. Guess what? We have several of them here. We have several of them here. There's a reason. Okay? They can provide the ability to contain your body heat around your body, making them very effective on saving your life. Those crinkly foil blankets seem like a joke and will make you look like a baked potato. Regardless, those crinkly blankets work wonders for keeping you warm. And they take up almost no room. A sleeping bag, a good sleeping bag. If you live near a temperate climate like San Diego, you might get a good night's sleep with a lesser weight sleeping bag. If you live in an area that gets cold, you're going to want a sleeping bag and possibly even blankets to keep you warm. Okay? A sleeping bag and a blanket might be very nice in a very stressful situation, allowing you to have a good night's rest. Okay? Make sure your sleeping bag is the size, the best weight, and size efficient to make sure you can achieve that goal of getting a good night's sleep. Whether you pack with what you have, and whether you pack, you're going to need to cope with the most severe weather that you might expect in your area. If you live in California near San Diego, like I said, you might probably get away with a lighter sleeping bag than someone who lives in the desert or someone who lives over in Utah or North Dakota. But don't get caught outside having a summer weight sleeping bag when it's going to be near zero outside. You'll be miserable. You're going to be miserable. Brokefish N says, how about a hat? Absolutely. A hat will save your body heat. A hat will save your body heat in the cold and will also help protect you from getting sunburned. Water. Water is next in importance. We talked about water. You're going to have water right up there with shelter. Dehydration and death by thirst will kill you in 3 days or so. You'll be delirious and incapacitated long before you die. But if you cannot get water, you will die. It is vital that you have a ready drinking water supply, like Carol and I talked about a few minutes ago. Ready drinking water supply of potable water and the tools necessary to produce clean, drinkable water. We have life straws here. We have life straws. We also have a portable water purifier. Okay? Be sure to get that. Be sure to get those things as well. Now, be sure to pick up 1 gallon of drinking water per person per day. I've always said have at least 3 gallons of water per person per day. Why? 1 drinking, 1 using water for cooking, and another bunch of water for washing. Washing dishes, washing your body. You're going to need it. Even if you don't use every gallon, you'll have extra water other than that for other things or another day. You got to have water. Okay? If you want to have water, you're going to need water. This amount I just talked about covers drinking, basic sanitation, and some food prep. Hotter, drier weather means you're going to need more of that water. You need a water container. Carol and I have 5-gallon water containers here as well. Only put a teaspoon of bleach with the water to make sure it stays potable. A teaspoon of unscented bleach. A teaspoon of unscented bleach will keep that water drinkable and usable. Now, if you do something different, if you get a 55-gallon container, you hook up your hose to that 55-gallon container. Okay? You can do that. Hook up your hose to the backside of your house. When you get the 55-gallon container, on one side, put a hose bib. Put one side on a hose bib to the top of the container. Turn it on side. The top of that container, you put a hose bib on it. On the other end, you have a spigot. That way, you can always have use of potable water from that 55-gallon drum. A plastic BPA-free water drum. You can get 55-gallon drums from supermarkets. Get them from supermarkets. Some supermarkets or outdoor stores sell these drums. They go from anywhere from $10 on up to $25 a piece. Other stores will sell the drums that they use because they get syrup, they get icing and all kinds of things from those containers. You can wash those things out really good and put water in them. But make sure they are food containers. Make sure they are water food containers. Do not get a plastic container from anywhere else for anything else. You might be poisoning yourself. You don't want to do that. Another thing you can do is get a bag that you can put in your tub basin. Put in your bathtub. Turn on the water in your bathtub and fill it up. You have like 50 gallons worth of water in your bathtub that you can use. Something else I talked about before, your hot water heater. If necessary, when the power is turned off and the water supply is also turned off, like we had here during that power outage. The power outage caused the water plant here in Morganton to shut off. So the pumps were shut off so we could not have fresh water. Guess what? We turned off the fire to our hot water heater. You're going to want to do that. So you don't burn the hot water heater down and don't burn your house down. Turn off the fire in the bottom of the hot water heater. Turn it off. Turn off the spigot at the top of the hot water heater so it doesn't allow contaminated water back into the water heater. Do that. And then when the power comes back on and you have water flowing again, you can always undo that spigot. Undo that spigot. And then let your faucets run, which flushes out that hot water heater, so it does not have contaminated water in it that might come through the pipes before you had to shut it off. Okay? That way you have 25 to 50 gallons of hot water in your water heater. 50 gallons of water that you can use to drink or use to cook with. Okay? These are just ideas. Richard Smith says he likes the idea of radioisotope thermoelectric generators that would charge batteries for 100 years. That's a possibility too. Don Patoka says TPs work the best. Been down to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit many a time. I haven't used a TP, but I've used tents before. That's a good idea, Don. Way to go. Richard Smith says maybe dig a moat and put in a drawbridge. A lot of people have backed up creeks so they can have water in them. That's how many churches baptized people back in the day. They backed up a creek or a small river so they could have water to baptize people in. Okay? Just ideas. Water purification tablets or unscented bleach. A teaspoon of bleach to purify your water. Okay? You can buy water purification tablets almost anywhere, including Walmart or Target. Outdoor camping stores would also have them. REI. Any water filtration device such as a Sawyer Mini, a Life Straw, water collection container with a filter. Think about it. Let's talk about food and cooking. During a disaster or survival scenario, you're going to need calories for fuel to being able to keep work getting done. If you start dragging, you're going to be in a world of trouble. Okay? Food, hot food even, is going to help you. You're going to at least need 2,500 calories a day to stay good. Hot, good food is a huge morale booster as well when you have tough times. Okay? Just start out prepping. I don't necessarily like the word prepper. It has a bad connotation, but that's what we are. That's what we are. And you can easily and painlessly start building your emergency food supply by adding 1 or 2 items each time you go to the trip to the grocery store. Add 1 or 2 items each time you make a trip to the grocery store. Something as small as 3 square meals for each person for 3 days will cover you for 90% of the things that might happen. Just saying. Just saying. You want about 2,500 calories per person per day for a high activity body fueling. 2,500 calories per day per person for high activity fueling of your body. And you can ration some food supplies out, and they will last for a longer period of time. Even some of the survival food we have can be rationed out. 1 meal might be able to last 2 days, because some of those meals that are in our dehydration food supply are way too much for 1 meal. You can save it for another meal. Okay? But get non-perishable calorie-dense foodstuffs. Non-perishable calorie-dense food stuff. Okay? Staples like flour, honey, pasta, rice, and beans. Dave Ramsey, who has a financial show on several radio stations around the country. He's highly rated over 1,000 radio stations across this country. His name's Dave Ramsey. He also has a website. He talks about rice and beans and beans and rice. You'd be surprised at what you can do with just rice and beans. Here we're talking about staples like flour, honey, pasta, rice, and beans, legumes. Canned and vacuum sealed foods like meat, soup, and veggies. Canned and vacuum sealed foods like meat, soup, and veggies. You can find those at any store. Any store. Survival items. Stockpiled survival food. Stockpiled survival food. We have that here. And I'm going to urge you, when you can afford it, to get some. Save your money. Carol and I also are trying to save our money. Yes, we don't have that much money available for just frivolous things. We don't use it that way. It takes a lot of money to do this program. $253 a month just for bandwidth to broadcast with. $253 a month for bandwidth to be able to broadcast this program. That's just for that. That is one of the reasons that we got rid of our post office box. Cost us too much money. Okay? But each of us can start saving $1 here, 25 cents there. And when we can buy a stockpile of survival food. Okay? For Patriots, for example. Patriot Supply, another example. You get great food supplies there, just at those two places. And there's other companies as well that have great food stuff. Okay? Now I'm going to caution you with something. You might say MREs might be a good alternative. I'm going to give you a lesson here. I tried eating MREs. Guess what? The body doesn't like MRE food. MREs are good lasting options. However, they're expensive and they can cause constipation. MREs are expensive and they can cause constipation. Okay? Be aware of that. Now, how many of you know what a church key is? How many of us know what a church key is? A can opener. Don't forget your can openers. Don't forget your can openers. A bottle opener. Okay? Make sure you have great planning, Don Patoka says here in the chat. Drink mixes. Electrolyte replacement powders. Carol keeps us stocked up on electrolyte packages. She has many electrolyte packages here. I think we probably have like, we can replace, we can probably fill 100 drinking bottle containers of water with replacement powders for fast energy and a variety of tastes. Basic dining utensils. In each of our 72-hour kits here, we have knife, fork, and spoon. We have disposable plates as well. We have napkins. Think about that. You might also consider getting a portable camp stove. We have our camp grill, not camp grill, but our barbecue grill out back. Make sure you can get a camp grill if you can't get anything else. Get a portable camp stove. This depends a bit on your approach to survival and your location. But a camp stove might do you just fine. You can get a camp stove for maybe as little as $25, $25 to $40. Fuel. You're going to need fuel to power those stoves or your grill. If you live in an area where wood is plentiful, you might survive on just a barbecue grill with wood. Throw some wood in and start a fire. Okay? If you live in an area that wood is plentiful, you're done. Okay? There's no question you can make your own stove. If you live in a desert or a plains area, guess what? You might not have access to wood. Might not have access to wood. Okay? Wood source will be very scarce. But if you have a multi-fuel stove that can be flexible as possible, when it comes to finding more fuel once you run out. There are many options to work with gasoline, diesel, and even aviation fuel, and more. How about light? We talked about flashlights before. I'm going to show you some flashlights right now. Okay? I'm going to show you 4 flashlights. Okay? The first one I'm going to show you runs on batteries. But on the back of it, guess what? Right here. I can charge this by plugging in a UTC adapter here. Plug it in and charge it. And works for hours and hours and hours. Okay? Just fine. Just fine. This one does the same. It's got a charging port right here. It's got a charging port right here, and then using this flashlight for 36 hours or better. Works great. Works great. How about my old police flashlight? My old police flashlight right here. It runs on 3 C-cell batteries. It's great. It's kind of heavy, and yes, I can use this for protection as well. But this will also give a bright light here. I'm not going to turn it on and focus it on the camera. I don't want to burn out my camera. But this provides a great light for a long time period. Carol and I also, during the hurricane, used our lanterns. We have battery-powered lanterns here in our house. Use battery-powered lanterns. That works great. Also, this flashlight right here. This flashlight right here is a great flashlight. We bought it from 4 Patriots. Okay? It's a great flashlight. It's called a Halo XT flashlight. It's got a paper cutter right here. We can cut paper with if necessary. You also might be able to cut seat belts away from people that might be trapped. Over here, it has a magnet. You can hang it on anything metal in your car, or even your refrigerator if you have an aluminum or steel front on your refrigerator. Okay? Also, right here. This is a glass break. So if you have this flashlight in your car and you end up going into the water, guess what? This will break the glass of your window so you can swim away from your car and save your life. Think about that. Think about it. Also, it has a button right here to turn it on. On this side of the flashlight, this is a solar panel. It also has little LEDs here. It has 6 LEDs here. This will operate as a shop light for you, providing light for almost forever. It will also charge a flashlight. On the end of it, we have a compass. A compass. Guess what? We take off the back of that flashlight, the compass, take it off, and we have a way to charge our flashlight here, or a way to power our cell phone. You plug your cell phone into this, and you can power your cell phone from your flashlight. This is a great Halo XT flashlight from 4 Patriots. 4 Patriots have a lot of different supplies that you can buy for camping or survival. Carol and I have done that. Actually, I've done it, and Carol just benefited by it. We have flashlights in every room of our house. 2 flashlights in our bedroom. We have several flashlights, as you can see, up in our office. Downstairs, we have 1 flashlight in the kitchen, another one in our living room, and another one in the bathroom. We always have flashlights. We have plenty of light. Like I said, we also have these battery-powered lanterns, and not just battery-powered, but solar-powered lanterns here that we keep powered by the sun here in the windows. Stick them in our windowsill to keep the sun powering those things, and when we need power, we can turn it on. Easy. Easy peasy lemon squeezy, as they say. We have tactical flashlights. That police flashlight can be used to protect yourself as well. Now, don't tell anybody that I told you that. If any cop asks you, it's a flashlight. A flashlight and nothing else. If you have that and that you say you have it for protection, guess what? You're in custody. You're in violation of the law. You're in possession of a burglary tool or in possession of a dangerous weapon. Don't ever tell a cop that you have a flashlight for protection. Don't do it. There's also a flashlight that is about this long. It's a very thin flashlight. Okay? It's called a Kubaton. It's a high polypropylene flashlight on the outside. And a lot of people carry it for protection. But guess what? If you tell a cop that's my Kubaton, you'll go to jail. Because it's considered a deadly weapon. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be crazy, guys. Police are very, very smart. Protect yourselves. I'm just giving you a hint. Protect yourselves. So we have plenty of power for light. We have plenty of ways of having light. Also consider headlamps. Carol and I in our camping equipment and our 72-hour kits have headlamps that we can put on. And that way it allows light to be had, and we can use our hands for other things while we have the light up here on our forehead or on our hat. Okay? Consider using headlamps as well. Headlamps are awesome. Headlamps are awesome. Okay? Consider that. That will allow you to work hands-free and still have light. No hassles. Easy peasy. Holding light between your teeth, I've done that as well. Lights of all kinds are good for signaling as well. Consider that. Have a flashlight for signaling. Okay? Now you can add these luminous wonders as well. Remember those plastic bendable lights that kids used to like to play with? They're great. Chemical lights. They're called chem lights. One time at a family reunion, some of my nieces and nephews, younger nieces and nephews, were running around there with chem lights attached to their arms and legs. And when there were cars going by the park we were at, we had these family reunion campouts. Some of my nieces and nephews were running along the fence line of this camp, this park. And all people driving by could see is these arms and legs that were running around, waving around, and people wondered, what the heck? They're great. But they can also provide great light as well. Think about that. Okay? You have the possibility of an LED flashlight. The LED lights are brighter, and sometimes you get LEDs use less power. Okay? Headlamps. Again, lanterns. Consider that. Carol and I have lots and lots of batteries. Lots and lots of batteries. I have one drawer full of batteries right here at my desk. We have D's, we have C's, we have 9-volt batteries for our smoke and carbon monoxide detectors. We have AA's and AAA batteries there as well. Okay? We can power all kinds of devices with all the batteries we have here. Got a ton of them. Consider that. Have plenty of batteries for lights and radios here. Lights and radios. Okay? As I said, chem lights as well. Okay? They're great. They're sometimes called snap lights. Okay? They're good for signaling like my nieces and nephews were doing, all kinds of things. Clothing. Let's talk about clothing, then we're going to get out of here, and I will come back on the air possibly tomorrow, as early as tomorrow, to finish talking about emergency preparedness. Let's talk about clothing. You're going to need the right kind of clothes in the aftermath of a disaster. You're going to need clothes for protection. Protection from the elements. You don't want to have clothes that get wet. That might be bad. But if you get wet, to have a dry change of clothes can be very beneficial. You can put the wet clothes on a clothesline using paracord or rope, drying out in the wind or breeze, and you'll have dry clothes within a few hours. Okay? Consider that. Make sure you have good clothing ready to go and appropriate for all seasons in your area. When you change seasons, change the clothes in your backpacks. Tough, fast-drying clothing and sturdy boots and shoes and gloves. Tough, fast-drying clothing, sturdy boots and shoes and gloves. This will give you the advantage over any other things. Give you the advantage to protect yourself from sharp things as well. Okay? Sharp and painful things that you're going to deal with in the event of a disaster. Okay? Winter caps. Be sure to stock your stash wardrobe with sturdy boots and caps. Sturdy boots, trail shoes, and caps. Making sure you keep your body heat with your head. Your head will lose body heat faster than any other part of your body. Sturdy boots or trail shoes, suitable for long distance movement by foot. That's why I always have a pair of sturdy shoes in my my bug out bag. I also have some boots in my 72-hour kit that I hang off the side of my 72-hour kit. Okay? Warm weather clothing, cold weather clothing, socks and underwear, lots of each. Take care of your feet. The worst thing you can do is have a blister on your foot. You're not going to be able to move around a lot, and you're going to be very much pained by it. Bandanas. The multicolor of clothing with bandanas. They work great as a headband, a sun blocker, and even a dust mask. Bandanas. Sunglasses, preferably ANSI or military standard, MIL-STD. ANSI or military standard rated for sunglasses for impact protection. Polypropylene sunglasses. Polypropylene glasses like I'm wearing. Gloves for sturdy classic leather gloves. You can buy leather gloves at Lowe's or Home Depot, 3 for $7 now. They used to be 3 for $5. Sturdy leather garden gloves. Okay? They'll help protect your hands and your wrists. Cold weather protection. While you're at it, don't forget a few wool blankets. Put one in your car's trunk. Put others in your hope chest at the bottom of your bed. Yes, hope chest. I bought a chest to put spare blankets in that we keep at the bottom of our bed at all times. So you can keep yourself warm in a car, okay, without the engine running, or at home. Now, we talk about weather and radios. Weather and radios. AM, FM weather radios. AM, FM weather radios. I've talked about this. Make sure you have an AM, FM weather radio. Now I'm going to talk about radios and other things just a short time. Not tonight. It's getting late. It's already 8:30. We're out all over 2 hours now. But I want to get this out. It's important. I will start this program again probably tomorrow. So we have plenty of chance to talk about preparedness. It's absolutely effective. It's absolutely effective if you do it right. And I'm talking about doing it right for each one of us. I'm trying to give you the information you need for emergencies. Need for emergencies to protect you and your loved ones. Those that you care about. I love you guys, I really do. Demon Catman just put our new address up. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate Demon and Don Patoka putting up information on what we're doing here and how you can contact us. Our new address, and also helping give us donations here. We appreciate that very much. God bless you guys. I love our mods, and I love all of you. Okay? Now I want to go over to John. I want to leave you with a thought. Okay? I try to leave you with a devotion at the end of our programs. I've not always done it, but I've done it most of the time. I'm going to do it tonight. I want to go over here in the first John chapter 2. I'm going over here, and I'm going to read from the first verse through verse actually, I'm going to start with chapter 1, and I'm going to start with verse 7, 8, and 9, and 10. So I'm going to 1 John with chapter 1, verses 7, 8, 9, and 10, and then go over to chapter 2, and I'll read about 3 or 4 verses there. In 1 John chapter 1, starting verse 7. If we walk in the light, as we are in the light, as he is in the light. We walk in the light as he is in the light. We have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanses us from all sin. If we may say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves, and the truth is not in us. If we confess our sins, he is faithful and just to forgive us our sins and to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. And if we say we have not sinned, we make him a liar, and his word is not in us. Let's go over to chapter 2, starting verse 4 and 5. He that saith, I know him, and keepeth not the commandments, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. And whoso keepeth his word, and in him verily is the love of God perfected. But whoso keepeth his word, in him verily is the love of God perfected. Hereby know we that we are in him. He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also to walk, even as he walketh. In other words, we need to be perfected, but we just also need to walk the talk. We can't say one thing and do another. We have to walk the talk. Brothers and sisters, I believe in Christ. Christ set the example for each one of us. Christ set the example for each one of us. He wants us to come back to him. Let's keep the lines of communication open with him. Let's walk the talk so we can be faithful, so he will know that, and when we talk to him, he will answer us. We'll feel his word within us. Through the gift of the Holy Ghost, we'll feel his word within us. I know that. I know that. God will bless us. Our Heavenly Father wants to bless us. He wants to help us. But we have to do something ourselves. We have to walk the talk. We have to walk the talk. May God bless us this night. May God bless us that we might have his Spirit to be with us. Always. Always. Brothers and sisters, I love you. I love you more than ever. I always will. I ask the Lord to bless you and keep you. May God bless you that you might have the things you need. And bless you that you might prepare for what is going on in our own time, in our area, where we live. May God protect us and bless us in all things. Ask God to be with you this night. God be with you until we meet again. We will see you on the other side. You're kidding me. Hold on a second, guys. I hate it when this does this. This doesn't happen very often, but it happened now. Hope it gets back. It did. Good night, everybody. Much love.